BleedTV, the only podcast for today's best shows and movies. I'm Zack.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
And a week later, we are covering WestWorld's season finale. We had a little vacation and some other issues, and probably about 10 days to process the hour-and-a-half finale. What do you think?
Only 10 days?
That's what it felt like.
I don't think it's even been 10 days.
No, it's been 8.
It's been 8
Maybe
days.
8 days. Okay, I can't count. Anyway, long story short, it's a heck of a finale, but there is a lot of mixed reviews out there. Would y'all agree that this was a mixed review finale, or was just absolutely awesome, or you hated it? What is it?
Once again, I think I enjoyed an excellent hour and a half of television, but there are things that are kind of like, not head scratchers, but I'm surprised they went certain routes, I guess.
I think that's the best way to put it, because it's hard to say anything about this show was disappointing. Now, you might not have gotten the fan theory that you wanted or something, but everything leading up to it and just the entire hour and a half that we're going to go through with just like the gate opening, the violence, the blood splatter, the camera, it was enthralling. And I was happily surprised to see it was an hour and a half, because I didn't even know they were going to give us an extra half hour.
And this was the most sci-fi episode we've ever gotten.
It was completely out there.
You know, when I was talking to several people about it, especially over the vacation and everything, the episode, like you said, is great to watch. But I look at the episode as supposed to be the cap on a great second season. And unfortunately, this episode was supposed to be super revealing and a huge ha-ha moment and this, that, or so on. And I didn't have that feeling. And I haven't had that feeling for the last 2 or 3 episodes, because there hasn't been that one burning question or one burning mystery or anything. It's been nothing but chase my ass with timelines to figure out who, what, when, how, this, that, or so on. And even at the very end, it was still relatively confusing. I had to watch it 2 or 3 times before I was like, okay, I can accept this, that, or so on. And even had a credit scene that was like, all right. But even it was head scratching because I was trying to process how I just felt like at the end of season 1, it was the boom, here it is.
Yeah.
And you had to absorb it, and you were proud and you were happy if you figured it out. You were like, holy crap, that was great. I didn't see that, or anything like that. When the end of this season happened, you were just visually like, wow, they are really showing a crack in the sky that looks like something out of Star Trek. And then you're like, wait a minute, Bernard was here, but now he knew about it. But wait a minute, this isn't Dolores, but no, now we got Hale. And now there's balls, but I'm not sure whose balls, which one, and how many balls are in this purse. And then, wait a minute, now Stubbs is talking like this. And all right, now Man in Black, okay, so now we do believe, I guess he was a host. And we know that he still didn't, I mean, like, it was like a sensory overload
And just like
of an episode.
Part of it is you're mentally drained by the end of the episode, and it's like, how do I even think? And I think that was part of the problem.
It's a ton to process, and I feel like a lot of it you shouldn't spend too much brain power on. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, trying to figure out the timelines, I feel at this point is a waste of time.
I truly believe they're going to have to release a season, like we were talking about in the last pod, to where it's all
just lined up.
Yeah. And I think that will completely change how the season unfolds.
I don't disagree, but I just, like, at this point, the big reveals, the big main moments were the cliffhangers at the end. Really, the last 10 minutes are the biggest moments of the episode as far as I'm concerned.
I'll give you that.
I'm with you on that. Because, I mean, like, the all the other stuff that you're like, oh, this or all that, nah. You know what it makes
you feel like a little bit is a superhero movie. It's like, oh, I'm watching Spider-Man. Oh, man, Spider-Man's in a lot of danger. Wait a minute. He's fucking Spider-Man. He's not going to die.
Yeah, but, I mean, none of these people I felt couldn't die.
No, it's not that. What I felt like at the end was...
This was not the end of Westworld.
We killed a lot of people,
but
a lot of characters. But are they dead?
So it's kind of like Game of Thrones. It's like, is it on screen and stuff? Like,
are the ones that got satellite blasted out to somewhere that can't be discovered, are we ever going to see those people again? You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, that's a good question.
Left with a lot more questions.
No, it's just how I felt like the stakes at the very end, after everything is unfolded, I felt like the stakes were a red herring. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, especially since they pumped up so much of, it wasn't the Forge. What was the first place we blew up that held everyone's memories?
Oh,
the Crucible.
Crucible.
And so it was like when that blew up, we're like, okay, there's no coming back and stuff. And then they already took that away from us because we saw what happened with Dolores and everything by the end of this one. It's just like, wait.
Well, no, not really, because you got to remember, Abernathy was holding all of the host.
Yeah. Well, he was holding some. I don't even think we really know what data he was holding.
Well, he was one of them was holding the host. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Abernathy was just holding the key.
There was 2 balls, basically. One holding all the host information, one holding all the guest information. You know what I'm saying? But
see, I'm not even really clear about that. When you saw Abernathy and him having all those things, there was a part in the show that said that he's reliving parts of his old storylines. So that to me, that was him playing other characters that he's been in the past because he's one of the oldest models.
He's.
So they downloaded something on him, but I don't think we ever got a real clear answer of what that was. You know, I mean, they might have, and there might be somebody on TV like, "Oh, God, Zach, you're an idiot. You missed this." But I'll be honest with you. To this point, I cannot say definitively
what was on his
what was on him when they took him away.
I agree with you because
I take it. I think it was the guest information. That's what I think it was, because it looked like because remember he was talking about how it was like too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like when
he did say like things were seeping into him, but
right. And when he said it on the thing, when you see the ball come together and the encryption and stuff like that, it looks like massive data file.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's what it actually looks like. Now, I could be wrong because
well, it's like you said, it was too large for them to send, so they had to take the ball with him. They had to take the hit. You know,
right? And
which how far has technology advanced to where that ball's holding so much info that can't even be sent?
That's the thing, though. When they have terabyte USB keys now.
We do.
So I mean,
those things are a thing of beauty. By the way,
we're heading in that direction of where they could hold massive amounts of information.
Yeah, but I mean
something so small.
True.
But either way, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining at all. I got the stakes ended up falling short to me at the end because I'm like, I don't know now who lives, who comes back, who doesn't. We know there's 6 balls in this purse. So we know we're going to get 4 more characters? No, 3 more characters that we don't know of. Right?
I mean, I guess it's what Bernard.
We know we have Bernard and Dolores. Somebody's in Hale's body right now. We don't know who.
No,
it's Dolores.
Yeah, Dolores was in Hale's
times
part.
2.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yes. When she swapped over, that was Dolores, and then she went back and created the original Dolores.
And I don't even think Hale's might not even have a body anymore.
Yeah, so no, I think Hale's gone.
Yeah, Hale's dead.
Hale's dead.
Hale was
that
a
is
human
Dolores.
that's dead.
Dolores. That's what that is.
You think? Well, they don't say that.
Well, that's who she was when she killed Hale.
I know that.
But
she was able to print her own body. They know they can remove the brain to the next person and stuff like that. Who's to say that's not another person in Hale's body?
Well, I mean, why wouldn't they just create their old body back? You think someone was just
I would just destroy the old machine. And, I don't know. To me, it's a way of keeping that actress into the show. And, my prediction is that's just Dolores 2.0. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm not. Yeah,
I mean, there's no proof either way.
I'm not denying you. I'm just saying it's possible that that's a whole nother character.
Correct.
You're 100% correct.
So
we potentially have 3 to 4 orbs
3
left.
balls or 4 balls left of people. And it seemed kind of telling or not telling that they showed Teddy at the end. When she starts talking about the people that shaped you, who were the good parts of you, and they show Teddy.
And I mean, I would fully expect her to take Teddy's orb with her.
See, I don't think so.
Really?
I think she set him free.
Well, they show him.
I know.
Go into that deal.
That shows you that everybody got
when he shot himself, the bullet mushroomed on his brain. Which is different considering we've seen people get shot in the head in the past, and supposedly that was supposed to be the death nail. But
maybe he had a stronger.
That shit bothered me. By the way, I'm just not gonna lie to you because when that bullet mushroomed and like she
pulls his
brain out. To me, one of the balls is Teddy in there. The guy's just good at dying. So, I mean, we got to continue that tradition even in the real world. So I think he's definitely one of them. There's no doubt. To me, you could have a Ford as one of those balls.
I think Ford's got to be one of those balls.
I mean, he's the creator. I mean, there's always a way. I think they do that on purpose so that if Anthony Hopkins is available and can do things, then we'll sneak him into the show again. It's a way of like, hey.
But why do we think Ford's ball is involved? We saw Ford's ball. It's red. We've seen it.
Well, it was at the time. We don't know if it's going to always be red.
But I'm saying, where did she get Ford's ball from?
She could have just re-downloaded it from the system.
Well,
no?
I thought Ford was on Bernard's ball when he put it back in his head.
Well, no, because Bernard truly deleted.
We find out later.
Yeah, he deleted him. That's true.
That he was never even there. You know?
He was there until he deleted them.
That was my gripe. I was upset that it was always Bernard having these delusions and stuff like that.
Well, it wasn't always Bernard because Ford came out with them. But as soon as he hit that delete button, then he truly deleted him out of it.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that.
I didn't like it either. It was like a way of putting him at the sunset and saying, Ford wins jaw, see you bye.
I liked the idea that Ford was riding along with him.
Yes, and was smarter than everybody
poking
else.
him in the right directions and stuff like that when he knew what he wanted to do and stuff like that. I mean,
it made it more plausible. It made more sense.
It made sense what they said about Bernard creating, a bad side to push him in the direction he needed to go. But I'm just like, I liked the idea of Ford riding along.
Yeah, like why not
Puppet Master. Yeah.
Exactly. Why not just make it a concrete thing that he was playing Puppet Master for him and everything?
Right.
We didn't need.
You have to understand, it's also a compliment to where if you have made Bernard 11,000 trials to make basically the most perfect machine, along with the Lord Slice and so on, that for him to be able to do all this, so I mean, it's like a testament to his work in a way.
No, it was. And what was so cool about it, and I think the biggest statement that this episode made was, of course, the library stuff, right? With Logan and everything. But when he makes the statement about free will and that there is no free will unless you can change your core directive, which is why a host is actually the free one, not the human. Remember they were like, everything that Delos did
Came back to that
one thing, which meant one life interaction, one life moment makes all your future moments, which means you have no free will.
But I mean, it's
kind of the nature versus nurture thing, right? It's like where you grow up or what incidents happen to you, what PTSD you do, whatever happens, right? Develops your personality and your choices at moving forward. But a host can get sick of that and be like, I don't want to worry about that anymore. Change your core directive. You go somewhere else.
But I mean, we saw with Teddy that that's not necessarily the case because he couldn't change his core directive. And that's why he ended up killing himself.
No, he kills himself out of free will.
He kills himself because he can't decide, because he can't go with Dolores anymore. And he can't hurt her.
Yeah, and he can't hurt her.
So I mean, to me, that tells me they can't change their core directive either.
And see, here's the thing. I know what they said about, that one instance created, Delos and the whole 9 yards, but I also believe a person can change later in life. I mean, I've seen it personally. It's just like somebody who's an alcoholic who goes to AA and then suddenly decides to change, and their whole life is good from there forward. Is not what they used to be. They're not defined by things.
But that temptation's always there.
But they're always defined by that. They're always defined as a past addict.
By society, but not as a human.
No, by themselves. That's what AA is.
Yeah.
They don't ever say, they always say,
you're never not an alcoholic.
How you doing? I'm an alcoholic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like, you are defined.
You're saying a person can't change midlife?
No, you can. But that means you're changing based off of something bad that's happened to you.
And that core principle's still there.
Why did you want to change? Because you were tired of dealing with what this was. You know what I mean? It's like, it's tough, man.
It's a lot to absorb.
It's
there.
a lot. It's a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, it is a complete brain thought process, and like it's a lot of conversations that you're having with other people, and then you've got to try to trick yourself into thinking that you are doing something for a different reason than that initial core reason that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if our brains can even handle thinking of something like that.
Yeah. I'm getting a headache now.
I mean, all of us are trying to struggle with it, like talking about it.
Let's talk about some major moments, and I just want to know how y'all felt about them, like the gate.
I wasn't a fan. I'll be honest with you. I just thought it was very. It just didn't match the rest of the show.
It didn't. I agree. I like the idea of what it was, but I didn't like the visual interpretation of it.
Yeah, it going all the way up out of screen, and I was just kind of like, I paused the movie. I was like, are they really showing this?
Yeah, this was
It was so stark.
This was a huge technological leap. Now, the fact that human beings couldn't see it,
and that's why I didn't have a problem with it.
That's what helped.
It helped, but it was so stark.
It is jarring.
It is like, holy shit, what is that in the background?
Yeah.
It
is extremely jarring, I will give you that. Now, the part where they show the profile view where you see the body just drop dead and fall off the cliff.
They walking in and just poof.
That was awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I just think it could have been a different visual interpretation of it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but
thing,
what do you make it convincing for every other host to see? Because if you just make it a door, are we happy with that?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but like...
But this is ultra sci-fi.
Ultra sci-fi.
It is, but I mean, for just sending information out into a different world.
To me, it's like have one of the caves in the cavern where as they walk in, they're not realizing it's a fall off. You know what I mean? As you walk in, and as you look into the cave, all you see is dark. But to the host, as they walk in, they see serenity through it, or something. Whereas you don't have that visual of them on a horse going beside a mountain. Look over there, and there's this giant crack in the atmosphere. It was just like, holy crap, man! And then it was purple and dark blues, and it was such a major contrast.
You see, I just didn't like that it was an empty field. I was like, why is that everyone's paradise? Just a prairie.
No, it's
untouched landscape.
Untouched is what it's supposed to show.
I don't know.
Man, if you ask people what they would think the serenity is, a lot of people would say, well, just an empty field with a beautiful sunset, da 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 da. You know what I mean?
Look, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with serenity being a prairie field with 4 sunflowers in the left corner like any stock photo card. But just that's what they picked for all of these people. And half of them probably haven't even come close to seeing something like that in their memory.
Well, the whole idea is not about what was necessarily past that door. It's about what that door represented.
Exactly. So, like, how is it the same thing for...
But it can't
doesn't matter what visuals through that door. In their mind, that was their way. That was their escape.
Okay.
And it has to be something that they're not going to be too scared to go to. If it was outer space or something that they couldn't even fathom as a landscape... You know what I mean? They wouldn't even walk the door. They'd be like, I'm not going there.
Absolutely.
Black hole? No.
If I see Clementine behind me, I'm going to any kind of sort of serenity that's out there.
But like I say, though, either way, first off, the part where Dolores and Bernard are in the forge, the look of the forge and those halos that come down, I thought all that stuff was badass sci-fi. That was all really cool looking.
But see, to me, that matched the caliber of the show.
Absolutely, I agree.
To me, that matched it 100%. And then when they flooded it, and supposedly flooding that is what caused the flood of the lake,
I didn't like that.
I hated that.
Yeah,
I thought that was BS. I thought it was something like they were going to take a levee out, and that's the way you destroy an area as a way of cleansing it. You know what I mean?
But now, just like the water pumps are
emptying,
and we're flooding
the earth. I mean, really? Like, there's enough pressure of water under there that it's causing it to come up, bubble up to their feet?
No, I like to think that wasn't how the water was fed to that area. It's an island. I have to feel like that's pulled from the ocean. They even said it's like it goes to the coast.
I just didn't care for it.
They didn't interpret it in a way
if that's the case, though, and it should be like it's pulling from the ocean and stuff, why isn't it still coming up? Like, how is that island not just flooding at this point?
Well, no, they did some really, I think, some of the poor CG. Mm-hmm. When you see the water crashing into hosts laying on the ground.
It was bad.
That was not good.
No.
And the fact that they were showing that, and then where Bernard's standing, it's just kind of barely bubbling up out of the ground. I'm like, okay, these two things aren't matching.
Yeah, it was even close. The whole water thing, I didn't care for it at all.
Right. And it made me have to consider the fact that Teddy's not real close to this. He's a pretty good ways back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you consider how far they travel on horse, and Teddy's in that lake.
Yeah,
he's at the beginning of the lake.
Yeah, Dolores is out there, and she's riding horse and finds Men in Black. And then they get on horse and find where the door is. You're talking about that's a way good distance. And then he had to float out of that house.
Now, the thing is, they did show the scope of this water feature is massive. But I'm just saying...
To me, it doesn't.
It's a little bridge too far.
Yeah, it doesn't compute.
Yeah. I mean,
the fact that Teddy's in it.
That's a great lake at this point. And if
it's monstrous. Yeah, it's a Lake Superior type, monster lake.
On an island.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's a lot. It's a lot to compute, and I don't think 100% of it adds up. And some of it's poor CG that we saw.
Yes.
And some of it's just how they interpreted how that was supposed to fill up. And then like Hale just like, the triggerless fail safe, we gotta go, I felt like Hale's, when she's actually Hale, her writing this episode,
very weak.
Garbage. She
did not get a very good sending
cliche
off
stuff, like B-rate action movie side character stuff. And I was it
was like Steven Seagal levels. Like, I really wish you were the kind of moral person that I could change and everything, but you're not. Boom, 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 boom. I was like, oh no.
But that's the thing. It was like, oh, this is so predictable right now. I mean, when you have on the same episode a scene with Anthony Hopkins just spilling a soliloquy to you about the horizon, and maybe that's where we'll meet one day, where the waves conspire against us. I'm like, this is awesome. And then I have to hear Hale go, get to the chopper. You know what I mean? I'm just like, no, man, this is not the same writers, man. And I know, because one thing I never bitch about on this show is the writing.
No.
Ever.
Well, and we even got a cheesy action hero one with...
he does it on purpose.
Yeah.
Dude, if y'all talking about Sizemore, and
that's who I was. Sizemore.
To me, I was shaking my head, slapping my forehead, and saying, "This is the dumbest shit I've ever seen." To me, this was the defining worst moment of the entire series.
I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved his scene.
I hated it.
Okay,
I hated it with a passion.
Oh, I couldn't get enough.
I mean, I almost wanted to fast forward. I mean, they've got P90s, and he's shooting a repeater at him. And, I was just like, and then they kill him off screen. And I was like, you've not been afraid
really
to
off
shoot.
No,
they showed a couple bullets, but they didn't.
He took like 5 or 6 scenes.
They didn't show the carnage. You know what I mean? They're not afraid to show Dolores stand there and take 5 rounds to the chest. You know what I mean? But we can't show Tom. I mean, I'm sorry, that whole deal. Oh, it's my speech. I'm like, really? Y'all can still keep running. I mean, I don't know. I didn't understand the stop and, hey, let me do it. And that, I'm like, give me a break.
Well,
man.
And they still had the vehicles and could hawk down a horse in a hurry.
But the thing is, I know why they did it. They were showing the redemption of Sizemore. You know what I mean?
Son's redemption.
Take it, take his role. You know what I mean? I was fine with that part. The weird thing was he adding to the speech at the end?
Probably.
Because he was talking about things as if he was a host, talking about how people were using them as, you know what I mean? And I'm like, Hector wouldn't have said all this stuff.
No, I think he definitely added to it. But when you're a writer,
right? It's like he starts off with Hector's speech about,
yeah. Well, this is the speech we know and everything.
The I'm your Huckleberry speech, basically, and then it's like he added all this other stuff to it. And I was like, okay, as long as I know he's a writer and he's adding some new stuff, because
I felt like he added a good.
It makes sense of Hector saying that.
But I mean, that speech was also a minute 45. Like that was
it wasn't short. It wasn't short.
That was a long scene.
But like I said, there's standout.
Disastrous.
It was fantastic.
There are weird. It's strange though. It's out of place moments.
There was a lot of out of place.
I didn't have a problem with it, but I was like, this is so off base for this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's just like the door opening. It's this thing. It's Hale's cheesy lines.
Yeah, those were bad.
There's weird things in this episode. Nothing that bombs the episode for me, but like, well, that's really strange. Like that's in this episode.
Like you said, it's just out of place, and it's kind of like cheap sci-fi ish in a way.
Yeah, it just tarnished. What's been consistent. That's the deal.
And as far as I can tell, if Maeve is on the screen, slow-mo is involved at all times. Never
She
fails.
does have a lot of slow mo.
She
Now
does have a lot
that
of
I'm
slow-mo.
going, like now you have me racking my head with all these Maeve action sequences.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all of
like
them.
when she's
All of them.
when she's looking at the Ghost Nation guy, when she's looking at the child, when she's looking at the mother,
Man in
when
Black.
she watches Hector and what's her face, get killed,
Snake face.
and when she's like, when she's watching Clementine slowly come up into the, on the horse. I mean, like there was so much.
Was Maeve not being able to battle Clementine frustrating to y'all?
She wasn't focusing on battling her. She was focused on finding the daughter. And then when she turns around, you see how powerful she is.
She's able to stop them all, but then they shoot her.
Right, but the focus for her was just to find the daughter and keep her safe. So I didn't mind that she wasn't trying to battle Clementine. And the fact was,
Clementine got shot to death.
they really showed the virus thing.
She was just a virus that was the pathogen. She was the mode.
And now you
Deliverer.
saw like how fast it was spreading from person to person.
Yeah.
To person. Even when she went
We're
down,
down.
it was started to spread. And remember that one
Exponentially
scene?
up.
Well, that's the one scene she's standing there. All of a sudden, you see it just wave across her, like in an instant. All of a sudden, everybody just freaks out, and I was like, "Man, this is really cool." I mean, in a way, I was like, "How are they not?" And maybe they are. And I wasn't listening to the soundtrack well enough. But I was like, "Isn't this where a Johnny Cash song is supposed to come in?"
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I can see like Ring of Fire or
well, no, he has
something hunt you down.
That's when the man comes around.
Right.
Should have been playing almost because I mean we're literally talking about the Pale Rider.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they put her on her white horse. She's got the white dress on. Her eyes are glazed over. This chick, man, she kills it, dude. This is so badass how they did that.
I mean this in the best possible way, but Clementine should be in a silent film. And I think she
could
would.
easily do it. That's for sure.
Like, I mean, if one of those things ever comes back into popularity, I think she knocks that out of the park.
It's the point where I hope she's one of the balls in Dolores's bag, only because they just show her so much. All the flashbacks. She's a waitress walking by, just randomly, just walks by for a second.
She's in everything.
She's in Delos's first time experimenting on the park and all that stuff. I mean, it's like she's everywhere. Everybody's memory seems like they had a encounter with Clementine.
Yeah, and it's like you were saying, like Clementine was the character for us to follow. Be like, oh, okay, something's about to go down.
Yeah.
Like we see Clementine.
She was the signal flare. Wherever she was,
Yeah.
she was a signal flare. That's, I always looked at that as her, is that she always had a part. There was always some kind of connection to something she was with.
Right. I mean, the fact of the matter is there's only 6 balls.
And so we think we have. Well, we knew one was Dolores, one was Bernard.
We know those 2.
Yeah,
And we
so
have Hale 2.0.
we have Hale, but
Well, no, that one's got.
Actually,
it's
Dolores
her
is
plus
inside
6.
Hale.
yeah, Dolores is inside Hale.
That's why I say it's still
So there's 5 balls.
Well, no, there were 6 in the purse.
6 in the purse, and that's Hale, who is Dolores.
Right.
So when she comes out,
But one of them's Bernard, we know.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. There's 5 new balls that we don't know who's who. So you got to think of the 5 characters you want to see
And I mean, I would think one's Maeve.
that are hosts
Yeah.
that we know of for sure.
And so, I mean, I would think it's Maeve, Teddy.
I would think it'd be Abernathy. Could be her
no-
daddy. She
I
does
don't
take
think
his
so.
brain. She takes his brain,
That was just because his brain was the key.
His brain was the key.
but she took it.
But
She
she
did-
but
but-
she grabs it at the end. Bernard picks it up at the end, doesn't he? Wasn't it him?
Yes.
I don't remember, so I don't want to
He
say.
picks it up, puts it in the back of Dolores' head, and then they put it back in and it ends up being the host data that's sending out instead of the guest data.
So I don't think he's important enough to save, sadly.
I don't know. I only put him out there because it's Dolores.
Yeah,
who
no, I mean,
picked
it
the
makes
balls
sense
up,
to put
you
him
know what I
out
mean?
there.
I mean, I want to believe that Ford is one of those balls.
Yes,
I
I
want to
do as
believe
well.
that 100%.
But Dolores really only has interactions with certain characters. She barely has interactions with Maeve.
Very few.
I mean, very few.
Two moments where they let each other pass, and then the one where she's on the operating table and she's talking to
but
her.
they have a lot of interactions kind of in the town, potentially.
No, we never see
they
that.
never see one. If you went by interactions, you're talking Abernathy,
Teddy.
your Teddy, or your top 2 by far. Those are the 2. She has her most interactions with, and then of course Bernard. But we already think that. So I mean, reality of it is that it's
That's
who's
it.
who. It's who's who of who you want that to be. Those balls to be.
I mean,
Well, I mean, Clementine, she has a lot. No, she doesn't. So yeah, I've got
no.
Nothing. The only thing you can figure.
The chick that blows up the Crucible. The one that's the other waitress.
Oh, yeah,
the piano playing girl.
She doesn't have many interactions with her.
But she's one of her soldiers throughout the entire war.
Her main cats through the whole deal.
I could totally see that one.
That girl, possibly. She's literally the one that meets William the first time he comes in. I mean, she's a big deal.
She's a very important person in everything. And her main core is seduction. And
I really think it's just going to be what actors you want to bring into the fold.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the main characters. You could
easily bring Maeve back in there. But I do not see Hector. I do not see Snakeface. I do not see any of those things.
No, they don't. She wouldn't have a reason to bring back those two characters, unfortunately. But I think they're awesome. But
yes,
unfortunately, they're not necessary.
But also, do they have to be hosts? I know we kind of said that earlier, but if we have guest data, why does it have to be a host?
Because they haven't solved the fidelity issue yet.
You kind of did with Bernard.
No, he's not a human. He's 100% host.
But he was just built off the data. So, I mean,
remember, that's what she says. She says it doesn't work unless you change something. Remember? Mm-hmm. She's like, we've done this 11,000 times.
Right.
And she says at the end of it, she's like, maybe I just need to change something about you. Because remember, they're like, we worked the whole time to make sure I get the exact man back that out of memory. You know what I mean? But she's saying, but maybe we can't do that. Maybe we need to alter something, which is where Bernard ends up becoming so, I mean, not even knowing he's a host. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he's the best example of what it could be.
Right. Potentially, because we never even met Arnold, so we don't even know how close he is to him. But, I mean, I see what you're saying and everything.
Yeah.
Him being the best example of it. But it's just like, we don't even know if that's true because we don't know how close he is to the actual
Well, we know
Arnold.
he's a little different because remember, she said, why would I make Arnold again? He failed. He killed himself.
He did.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, maybe I shouldn't make him exactly. Made him somebody else who could problem solve, I guess.
But I mean, at that point, we don't even know how much of that is actually Arnold.
Yeah. No, I agree.
No, I mean, 11,000 tries, I think you pretty much honed it in.
But there's also a reason why Ford's attached to him.
Yes.
You know, in a personal way. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, I think it's the same.
I think he's got to be pretty damn close to his best friend. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Like, I mean, if he's going to spend that much time with him, we would think it's as close to his best friend as humanly possible.
And it appears, we find out at the end that Ford built that house for Bernard, basically, but it's really just for the continuance of host.
Yeah.
You know, for their second chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we end up finding out that Ford was really like going against the guest stealing project and going for protecting the host's future.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it never really felt like Ford was there for the guest stealing aspect of it.
No, him and Arnold were about creating the most lifelike host you could.
They were just about science.
You know, but Arnold was the one that got attached to him. And it's almost like he changed Ford's mind, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And realized, like, you surprised me, you know?
Well, if Arnold doesn't kill himself, I don't know if Ford ever gets this deep into it.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe not. That's a good point.
What were some of the other big...
All right. Now, here's one of the problems I had. Y'all tell me if y'all thought that. Man in Black blows his hand off by shooting
the hand cannon
his gun because she took the mushroomed bullet off of Teddy's brain and somehow stuck this somewhere in the chamber to cause this explosion.
I've riddled my mind with trying to think of how this happened.
Okay. I've handled revolvers for years. Have some. There's no way that you shoot your gun 4 times and then on the 5th one, this thing was in there and
this was in the separate chamber. So like that shotgun chamber is
there's no
in
way
the middle,
that disc fits in there.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, but like that's a different separate hole than the revolver rounds because it's in the middle of it. Like, I don't know if y'all, whenever he was taking it out, it's got the 6-shooter and then it's got the hole for the little shotgun shell in the middle of it. And then that's why it's got the underneath barrel for the power shot. But that mushroom still isn't fitting into that thing.
Well, here's the other problem.
That ain't what they showed.
That ain't what they showed. And here's the other problem. If a mushroom that somehow, which I still call 100% BS, to cause this explosion, that mushroom would have been disintegrated.
Yeah.
Because if that gun exploded like that, it's because that mushroom prevented that round from coming out, and that mushroom and everything around it would have been just destroyed. For them to walk over there and pick it up and like it's not even marred or touched or damaged was another thing.
I mean, it's
absolutely
laughable just how...
You know.
Okay, well, the thing is, too, is that mushroom thing has to be on the front of the revolver.
Correct. It has to be in the front of the cylinder.
It has to block the bullet from going down the barrel. It's not blocking the firing pin from hitting the bullet. It's literally blocking the bullet from going through the barrel.
Remember, and that cylinder moved four times.
And that thing has to click around. What we would need to do is watch it and see if we can see the mushroom round in the front.
Well, remember,
revolving.
it's not in that chamber that's revolving. It's like sitting directly in the middle of it. So it doesn't spin or anything.
But you got to understand, he's not showing us making some, I'm getting ready to pull some hand cannon round.
Yeah.
They literally slow-mo him recocking the hammer to fire the round, basically just the sixth bullet.
And so...
what they give you visual does not support what you're saying.
Yes.
That's the problem. Is that they show him after four, she takes 4 rounds in the body. Okay? 4. Which, when she gets shot, she just has a little bitty blood splurt. You know what I mean? Like when anybody else gets shot, it's like Total Recall of like their entire chest cavity disappears.
Exploding at the
explosions. Which is unfortunate. Her bullet wounds are what a bullet wound looks like in the front. An entry wound looks like what she's getting. Yeah. And the exit wound is what
that's what explodes. But also...
But they just decide every time a P90 hits somebody, it's like... boom, like, you know...
It's like the Patriots cannon coming off and taking legs and everything.
I mean, it's... Wow.
Now, that's, whatever. I'll take real cool on any of that type of stuff. That's fine.
My main problem with the scene was... who doesn't check their gun when you're giving it to you by a mortal enemy or what you perceive as a mortal enemy?
I didn't have an issue with that. I didn't.
Really?
I'm just saying that what they showed on the screen, unless I go back, put it in slow-mo, and I can see that mushroom round in the front, because we're watching the front of his gun.
I don't even see how it stays in the cylinder. If that thing's spinning around, it just dink falls out.
I don't either.
Or it jars the cylinder where it doesn't move.
I mean, there's no way you're even going to get that thing.
That bullet, what do you think? What's an eighth of an inch, maybe?
Maybe.
From end of bullet to end of chamber? Maybe.
That is a big maybe.
Maybe an eighth of an inch. Maybe. So that thing is sitting in there perfectly, like a tongue, or like a spoon resting on the end of your nose. You know what I mean? It's just any movement, that bad boy's going.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
and that thing took an entire horse ride going up and down.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it didn't compute. And then only that, why the 5th round? You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, when he first shot, I was like,
okay.
Okay. Then the second time, then third, I was like, all right. Because I knew she, like, did something to his gun. But I was like, oh.
Actually, I take it all back. It's even more fucked up. They shoot several guys with machine guns when they ride up on horse. And then he shoots Dolores after several rounds.
Correct.
So he fired more.
There was no reloading. Because if he were reloaded, he would have noticed that there was something wrong with his gun. I think it might all be ruined. Might all be wrong. Might all just be totally wrong. Because they ride up shooting at the guys that are trying to stop Bernard
from going down into the...
Yeah, because Dolores looks at him and goes, you've been looking for this man your entire life and don't even recognize him. You know?
And
then
they shoot down the 2 guys that are shooting at him.
Correct.
He fires off a couple rounds there. Didn't even have enough rounds.
That handgun he has is an 8-shot, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it an 8-shot?
It's the big cylinder.
I don't know.
But Yes, I know what you're saying, but yeah, that means
Just makes it even harder to believe. That's all I'm saying.
It does. It does.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that again just to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to just rewatch her picking it up, her handing him the gun, all that little, just in a little sequence. Just be like, nah,
It's like, yeah, there's no way that this is even less
Doesn't
plausible now.
compute. Doesn't compute.
So anyway, whatever. I agree with you. That's a tough one to let slide. Cool what happens, but I'm just like, meh. I mean, it's always cool to see Dolores just like, you just don't get it. You have never gotten it. And she's just taking rounds.
You're just taking round after
I'm
round
just
after
like, sweet. But of course, we see from horseback, he rides up and shoots a guy with a machine gun, dead headshot. But for some reason, he won't shoot Dolores in the head while she's walking right at him.
and gets 4 rounds,
It has 4 rounds.
knowing that the first 3 didn't kill her. Hitting her in the same
And
area,
aren't killing her.
and he doesn't put one in her forehead.
Well, I mean, is there an argument to be made to say that he just can't? He still loves her?
Oh no,
No.
If he was shooting her 4 times, there was no love, baby.
No, remember, you got to remember,
I mean, I know he had that scene earlier in the season and everything, but I mean...
No, it ain't early in the season. I'm talking about season 1 stuff. He loathes the fact that he fell in love with a host. You know what I mean?
You can loathe it and everything, but it doesn't change the feelings. Like, you can hate that you love somebody.
I'm
It doesn't-
sorry.
Not when you show
Somebody
up.
you love and shoot 4 times.
Not when you show up the next day and she has no recollection of you. You know what I mean?
True. I mean, that could just make it the hurt
And you
and
go
just be like,
black
okay.
hat and you start raping and pillaging her on a regular basis. You don't love her anymore.
Yeah.
You are a spiteful monster of a man now.
Fair point.
That was his.
He was a man scorn. You know what I mean?
Well, oh god, now I'm trying to think of the X-Men line. Never hath a woman scored. Fury never known.
You just chainsawed that to death.
Man, well, obviously, I was trying to say I was remembering it.
Hit that mute button on your mic right
Okay.
there. Yeah.
I'll just go ahead and go right there.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
There we go. You couldn't have saved me earlier with it?
Jesus
Actually,
Christ.
we need you to
Yeah,
write
we just need to see where I was going with
I
it.
tried to pick your fucking tongue off the floor that you were obviously unrolling right then, but no, I
that.
don't.
Oh my god.
But
I mean, that makes it even harder to believe that he didn't just headshot her.
Yeah, but let's just. I'm just like I said. I want to. This could take on so long. So big moments wise.
All right, let's talk about Men in Black at the end credits. Okay. So evidently he is a host, and his daughter is the one who's been been doing it for years to make, like, he's doing what he's done. Like, he was there and got old trying to create Delos, and it didn't work. And so evidently she's there trying to make sure her dad's still, meaning Ed Harris has died and moved on. This is
Okay, though. Hold on, though. Do we think Ed Harris killed his daughter in that sequence?
no.
So you think she was a host?
Well, yeah, based on the credits, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when he looked at her and goes, "Damn it, I knew it," and da da da.
But we all assumed Dolores was the one being checked on by Bernard this whole time. But really it's Dolores checking on Bernard.
Correct.
So we know a host can be set to do these fidelity tests. Ford handpicked her to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who's to say she's not still a host, but a friendly face that's working with him now? I agree. I think it's cooler if it's his daughter.
Yeah, I think it's cooler if his daughter.
Okay, so here's the thing, though. Like you're talking about in the credits, we clearly get the fast forward. Dolores, this is well into the future, it looks like. Where she's talking to Bernard about they're not going to be friends. He's going to be her enemy and whatever like that, right?
Correct.
I feel like it's on the same timeline that we see the Man in Black later on. All the dust and sand that's inside the facility. And they put him in there and they're talking to him and stuff like that. This looks, if they've done him thousands of times, which it looks like it has, this looks like it's a pretty good time jump.
Yeah, I could see that. That's where that whole elevator thing pissed me off. I'm like, you know. All right, so he goes on that elevator, but nothing happens. And then they show a scene of him. Well, he's in pretty bad shape in a tent. On the medevac, getting ready to go. By the way, cool ass plane going over the water.
Oh, yeah, excellent.
I thought that was pretty
It
cool.
looked just like an Avatar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they sure did.
Yeah.
So we're going to say that is him and that they're creating a new one downstairs. So that was actually the real Men in Black. And
Yeah. I think that's the real guy. And he is removed or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But he probably dies.
And then they come back to the park and and the daughter's trying to recreate
Right,
him.
because you see that the park looks like abandoned. There's sand all in it. It looks like nothing works anymore, but they have him in this thing, and they're trying to do him. And she asks, like, how many times have I done this? And they're like, countless times. So I think we got a big time jump as far as next season comes. Yeah. You know, things have moved progressively deeper. I'm even surprised that they didn't go back to the young Ed Harris or no, the young William, in a way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, so do you think the host data is even relevant anymore? That we were
No,
trying to get
I
out?
honestly I don't. When she sends it to where it can't be found, I think that's like the last nice thing she is ever going to do.
Okay.
She's like freed all of those people and sent them somewhere they can't be found. But as far as I can tell, they're gone.
That was her treat to humankind and everything. It was like
Yeah.
everyone else is screwed.
So now the show is going to be Blade Runner.
What was?
In a way, I mean,
That's if we. I'm still not even sure if we're getting a season 3.
well,
Boy, that's a huge door open for it.
what's her name? Evan Rachel Wood tweeted out like she does a selfie every year. She was like, season 1, she showed her selfie. She's like, Dolores' first selfie. And the second season says Wyatt's first selfie. It shows her costume change and stuff like that. She says, I wonder what my selfie will look like for season 3.
So pretty strong indication.
Pretty strong indication it's coming back.
And I know it won't be until 2020. They said nothing will come of
Got
Westworld.
a lot of writing to
2019.
do.
That's why I say I don't think we'll ever see Ford again, unfortunately. I think Hopkins has to be gone from the show unless they do some of that CG stuff that they're obviously capable of doing now.
Sometimes.
Well, no, I don't mean just this show, but I mean
okay.
Make him look.
Yeah.
if
make
you
him-
watch Star Wars or Guardians of the
Ant-Man.
Galaxy 2.
Or was it Ant-Man when they redid Michael?
No, Michael Douglas is just a makeup miracle.
Okay.
But if you watch Kurt Russell
Yes.
in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I mean, that is amazing.
It's uncanny.
And then Star Wars, where they bring back the old general Rogue One, it's amazing. They can do small things, even though the freaking Kurt Russell one was not small. But it's amazing what they're capable of. So they could bring him back for that. Obviously, I hope he's alive.
Yes, but I
You know
mean,
what
like
I mean?
that in physical enough shape that he can actually do
If
it.
he can do it and he's alive and stuff like that, I hope they just bring him back.
Yes.
Obviously. But I don't know why they would bring him back and in what capacity.
Especially if it is that far in the future, there's just
Yeah.
not much point. Especially when you already have Bernard.
I
as
could
the-
see it like being little flashbacks, but I don't think it being a major role.
Yeah, maybe just memory stuff, but not him being there. So, I don't know about that. But, what do you think about the Hale switcheroo?
I didn't like it. Like we just had no indication of it.
Well, I don't think you were supposed to get any indication.
Well, I was okay with it because that's the only thing logically that makes sense to get off the island.
Like I said, remember I talked about that. I was like, they're going to have to change their body
Yes.
to get out of here.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. You have to change.
Which I'm okay with her dying and everything. It was just like not knowing when it happened in the moment, and now like I'm going through my mind. I was like, was that Dolores or was that Charlotte? You know, and having to go through all of that because I couldn't figure out where in the timeline it actually happened.
Well, no, Charlotte being Dolores wasn't a long time frame.
No, it was very short.
It was short, so you don't need to fight your brain thinking back
But
too far.
in that moment, I wasn't able to conceive that, you know. So like I'm immediately jumping through it and everything. But like,
But as much as I didn't mind the Hale thing, I think it was cool, and how they pulled it off was cool and stuff like that. Once again, I felt like the stakes were weird because Bernard has to so quickly change his mind about whether or not Dolores was right. You know what I'm saying? And brings her back very fast. You know what I mean? He has to change his mind very fast because Elsie gets blown away by Hale.
immediately.
Right. So it's like, okay, cool reason for him to make the decision, but it's but you took those stakes away of Dolores dying. Now you just brought her right back.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because she's a huge part of the show. She is the show. So it's like, I felt like a superhero movie where I was like, well, she's not really dead. When you think back in hindsight.
Yeah.
At the time when he shoots her in the eyeball, I'm like, holy shit, there goes Dolores.
Because we didn't even get, 30 minutes of her really being dead?
That's what I'm saying.
No, she didn't.
So you don't get very long before he makes the decision, and then we find out that, Dolores is in Hale's body now.
Yeah. See, I would have just preferred her dying 3 episodes ago and then kind of letting it ruminate. Like, we see him building a body, but we just never know whose.
I agree.
And then they give us this kill
I think
shot.
that would have been stronger for me.
Yes.
Because like I said, my stakes were watered down at the end because you no longer know, he could be alive. She could be alive. There's no telling.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you realize it's a small number because of how many balls are in her bag. It's like, well, there's not a ton of them. But
the only issue with that is that Hale, the surprise of Hale doesn't unfold well if Dolores' body's not there.
Well, her body's still there because he built a brand new body.
Right.
So you can leave her body there, no problem.
Yeah, but then you're showing the forge early. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
He could have gone back to Anthony Hopkins' old place.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. If Dolores was dead on episode 8 and you're like, what the shit? And the show is moving on, that cuts down on the what your expectations are for the end of the episode, and that's a huge wow moment.
True.
Instead of having Dolores for 45 minutes of the episode, then you see her on the floor with her eye blown out. You're like, what the shit is going on here? Mm-hmm. And then you have 5 minutes later, Hale guns them all down, and then she's only dead for 30 minutes, and then voila, she's back. Yes, I see exactly what you're saying, and I agree. She dies episode 8, and they do this scene right here, much different outcome.
I really think so.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. Like I said, I don't like it when you don't feel like there's any stakes at the end of it. You know?
I know this is a minor thing, but did y'all notice that when Maeve was dead, Hector, Snakeface, all that stuff, and they showed their bodies laying on the ground?
Yeah, they're all green and shit.
They're all turning blue and they're like that. Since when does that happen? We've never seen hosts turn colors within minutes or an hour or whatever.
No.
Like they're rotting. Like,
maybe Clementine's virus had a part.
No, I don't think so. I think that's showing
a complexion issue.
No, I think it's showing you how long it's been. You got to understand. What was his fucking name? Floki. Whatever his name is.
Starts with an S or something.
He doesn't come in till much later.
2 weeks or something.
But the deal with that makes it a little more struggle with the Man in Black with the fact that he's still alive. And they find him and they put him in the tent, you know what I mean?
Right.
Then you also got to understand, it shows why Bernard's laying next to the water now, too.
Yes.
Because he goes and lays down right there on purpose. You know what I mean?
Which doesn't explain his glasses anymore either, since...
Well, it shows him put the glasses down and the water washes them away.
Yeah, it washes them away.
But why is he taking them off?
Well, if you were washed
because
up on
if you
shore,
washed up, you would have
I don't
lost
think your
your
glasses would still be on you.
Yeah.
It's kind of a dead giveaway there, Cash.
Okay, I'll give you all that.
I'm just saying, when he made that decision, that was all the time jumps, was Bernard putting his plan into action, creating the new Hale and all that stuff, getting Dolores' brain swapped out and things, and, all that stuff was just him working through that little plan of his, and then the start of it was to lay down right there, or the end of his plan was to lay there and let it all unfold from there, to be found, to be brought in, it's pretty cool how they ended up doing it. You find out that the timelines are strictly for Bernard's plan.
Yes. It was just so the memories could seep out and everything, and they were able to do it in that cool little way.
But you have to understand, that's pretty ballsy, because you understand what Bernard went through this entire season. You're talking about guys who, had fluid coming from his head. He got Clementine dragged him to where Elsie was. He was taken 2 or 3 times. You got to understand, to say, all right, I'm laying down here, and to expect to make it through everything that happened. Dolores getting a Confederate army to do what they did. All that.
No. That's all before. He doesn't change his mind until Hale shoots Elsie in the chest.
Okay.
Then he puts the plan. You got to understand the timelines.
Yeah.
All right. So you're saying everything happened, and at the last second, he decided to do the whole deal. Well, then they find him.
It's not really a last second, though.
Right. Okay. Before the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, when he's in that little gap before the new big boss comes, Floki comes with those, the new team. That's what he's doing in that time period. But is creating a new Hale.
Isn't Floki's team, that team, the same one that attacked Dolores?
No.
When they were at the Confederate?
No.
That's Hale's team of people that's
there.
the
security that's left
so
over.
I want to make sure we're clear on. I want to make sure.
Yeah.
I'm clearing all that up to make sure because that's a confusion confection.
The Irish guy that comes in and stuff like that.
Different team.
Different teams. They have nothing to do with Floki and his squad that comes in. You know their squad because of the black chick that they keep showing with
and
the
she survived
ponytail.
the whole thing. Yeah,
and she's at the end.
Well, she didn't survive the whole thing. She wasn't there for any of it.
Yeah, she's just there now. Remember, she's the one that says we have a high priority target. It's the man in black in the tent.
Well, you have to remember something now. She does that, but then Floki goes down there, finds out Bernard is not real. They get attacked with Hale in tow.
Yeah,
all that stuff. But she's there on the island at that time. I guess she just stayed at the camp base. Is that what I'm getting at?
They're not coming off of the island, basically.
Okay.
Until you see. Well, they're not coming off the coastline.
Makes sense. I'm just making sure, based on what you were saying earlier. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, there's really only 2 timelines that we come to find out by the end of this thing.
It's almost what happens before Hail Blast Elsie.
Yes.
and what happens after. It's like that's the cutoff line, basically.
And that's a good spot to say. The reality of it is that to most people they couldn't even tell you where the cutoff is. But that is a good point.
It's kind of where it is. It's where Bernard's mind changes. He does all these things leading up to the fact that he's like, Dolores is too dangerous, and she's going to kill every man, woman, and child, and he can't allow that to happen, including the host. To
watching Hale gun down Elsie.
To listening to Ford, who he's making up himself, talking about, they're the ones that flawed, not us.
Yeah, and she'll betray you. That's in their nature. That's what they do, and blah blah blah.
Remember, he asked her like, "You helped Hale?" And she's like, "Of course I helped her," and you know what I mean. So he probably did feel a little betrayed and stuff like that. And then she freezes all motor functions on him and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like he has to feel pretty betrayed. But then to see her get gunned down after he tries to talk to her, pretty good reason for him to change his mind.
Yeah. Pretty brutal gun down. Good Lord.
So, what other?
I think that's it.
I'm sure we're missing something, but
I know there's stuff. I know there's stuff with Maeve. I hated seeing Hector and them die. I hated that they had to go out the way they did. I like to see that at the end, though, the 2 guys from the very beginning.
Yes.
What's their damn name? Felix and...
the 2 techs? Yeah.
The 2 techs, they're like, you think you 2 idiots can handle this?
And like they have real emotions and sadness and everything. I was like, thank you. Like you've transformed through this.
And the only thing I can think about that is like, they're like, she says, comb through them,
mm-hmm. See which parts you can salvage.
See which ones you can salvage, and dump the rest. So there is a chance
they could fix them.
They could fix the ones that we care about.
Yeah, and I think those are the only ones that they're going to dump everybody, but like Maeve and Hector and the people that they were with the entire time.
Yeah, so I think that's possible.
But also the balls of the people saying, "Yeah, let's try to fix these hosts." Like, did we not just see what happened? And you want to fix them?
But Hale's kind of right when she tells Elsie, like, yeah, people will be mad until they find out
what we can do.
That we succeeded. So it's like...
That's a fair point.
They're playing the odds on this.
It's like, it doesn't really matter what they did as long as we can prove that...
We still have all these people that died.
Yeah. We didn't lose them.
It sucks they're all dead. But hey, we can offer you immortal life now.
No, you know what this reminds me of is that Black Mirror episode.
Don't tell me because I haven't only watched a couple of them.
Okay. Jesus Christ, watch Black Mirror, man.
Anyway, I guess we kind of talked about the balls predicting who we think it is. I can't tell you. Beyond the 2 we talked about, I can't tell you.
Yeah.
I could say what my guess is, but I'll be 100% wrong. Another show will do something different.
I mean, it could be even people that we haven't even met before, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They've opened the door for your big characters to come back. Like you said, the 2 techs can bring back our 3, Maeve, Hector, Snakeface, and then poor Sizemore. No, he's a corpse out there dying in the woods. He's no longer a character.
I mean, he went out in a blaze of glory, so I'm okay with it.
Want to call it that, or blaze of stupidity. But
hey,
and then like I said, I think Fords are gone. I think they, the whole sunset scene was, hey, see you on the horizon, old friend. I think those people we won't have back. You know what I mean? I don't see Clementine coming back. I think that's ran its course. To me, I think if the techs bring back those 3 and use them for something different, that could be cool. But I kind of doubt it. I think Maeve ran her course, to be honest with you. I think that was her whole point. Her whole storyline was get to your daughter, protect her, make sure she's safe. And she got her to the alternate world with, Ike, whatever. What was his name? Ike, the Ghost Nation fella?
Aki.
And so that was accomplished. So, I mean, I don't see the point of bringing them back.
And I feel like Maeve would have too many chances at that point. Like, she's been
yeah,
brought back and brought back and brought back, you know what I mean? And that's almost like, okay, I feel like she's succeeded in her task. You know, she's not with her, but... she did what she wanted to do.
And her ability is not needed for where the storyline's going, in my opinion.
No, we're going into the people's.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, to me, her putting her hand up and going, they're going to laugh at her, throw popcorn at her. I mean, it's not necessary. To me, I think that's ran its course. You know what I mean? It's just, I think they put that in there of, well, let's see which ones we can salvage, that or so on. Is like, oh, maybe there's a maybe, but I just don't see it.
But it's hard for me to see any of them now.
I mean, I still find it hard that we get a 3rd season. Like, I mean, I'm not even sure, as fantastic as this show is, I'm not even sure if I want another season.
It's gonna be a different show. I'd
yes,
say that
it'd be quite a bit different show.
I mean, it's like True Detectives. It was like there was no way that there was supposed to be a 2nd season, and they tried to do it the right way of going to completely different actors and things.
I think they had a good idea, but there was so many things going on behind the scenes, and some of the acting, some of the character choices were just abysmal.
Now, that show should have succeeded.
Yes,
it should have.
The mistake was removing one of the best directors you could ever find because you don't want the credit to be shared.
Yeah.
Pizzolatto, you're an excellent writer and stuff, man. But let your boy...
Yeah, let a visionary work the camera and everything and bring your art to life.
That show should have succeeded. It had enough talent, it had enough cool shit that it should have succeeded.
It had enough star power and everything, and it went to pot real quick.
Yes.
I really fear that that's something that could happen with the 3rd season of Westworld. Because we already saw they had to kind of run a different gimmick and shtick.
Well, here's the thing. There's no more mystery now. There's going to be, there's no more mystery of Westworld. There is no more Ford mystery. There's no more puppet. So it's going to be, Cain and Abel, or, good versus evil, when you have Bernard on one side and you have Dolores on the other, and you don't know who they've created. And I mean, you could do some little minor stuff, but it's really going to be more about good versus evil, humans versus robots, whatever you want to call it. So I think the premise of the entire thing is going to be something completely different. And I think
are you going to be on the side of the Man in Black the next season?
What side is he going to be on? We don't even know.
I feel like they're going to want to generate him to know how hosts think and how to hunt them down in a way. You know what I mean?
Kind of make him the actual movie character of the original.
I mean, basically make him a Terminator, as far as I'm concerned. The original Man in Black in the original movie, was a host that goes
rogue,
full Terminator, basically, and loses his shit. I think it'd be super badass to see, they build him, a certain way, and pieces flying off of him and shit like that would be really badass. He can pull it off. That's one character that I'm glad is not dead. They couldn't have found a better human being to play this role.
No, this was meant for Ed Harris. I really do believe.
So, but like I said, I'm also super surprised they didn't just bring back young William.
I don't think he can do the action scenes to the same extent.
I think it's also something that's visual recognition. I mean, you need to make it, if all your memory, all your data and everything has to come to a point, and that last point is what your physical feature needs to look like. If you put all those memories in a young body, that'd be like, what the?
Yeah.
When I was 57, I killed that bitch. And why am I 27 and have a memory of me being 57 killing that bitch?
God, is that what I really end up looking like? Jesus.
Damn, I need to shoot myself now.
Never mind.
Really should put on that extra layer of sunscreen. 30
Gosh,
minutes.
damn, wear a hat. For
Maybe I should stick with the white hat. Reflect the light a little bit.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll all just have to see, man. I couldn't tell. I trust HBO better than any network on television.
Same here.
Agreed.
So, but we have seen a True Detective season 2. We've seen that happen. So it's like they don't always hit it out of the park.
No.
Mostly,
They've got a great average.
Oh
but
my God. Killer average.
Killer average.
I'm afraid they could try to milk this for.
I don't think they have to milk any show.
I don't think so either.
And
I think 2019 is their year of Game of Thrones. 2020 could definitely be Westworld 3.
If they have a dime left in the coffers after making Game of Thrones final, what is it, 6 episodes?
6 movies?
6 movies? Like, we can't even call those episodes.
Hour and a half to 2 hours each episode?
I'll be mad if they even have a dime to their names.
Like, if they say, okay, we're going to spin out this next series, right? No. Like, we're going to need like 8 months to
recoup our money.
All productions on hold.
Yeah.
We're calling in all hands
Like,
and all dimes.
Yeah.
Cancel John Oliver for the rest of the year.
Some of y'all to donate your salaries, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're having to lay off all of you. We're going to need all of your salaries.
The Game of Thrones spinoffs have been delayed an extra 2 years.
Right.
Yeah, that's where you can start worrying about milking.
Yes.
Because they've already
greenlit 2 of them.
They've already greenlit 2, and there's 3 other ones they're considering. So it's like, now, I know George. I don't want to get into much of this, but George R. has said it won't be dunk and egg.
Yes.
I hope at some point they allow that, because that'll be wonderful.
I don't think he will unless he somehow finishes writing them, and he's already delayed writing more of the Dunk and Egg series.
Make them movies then or something. Whatever.
Which, for the love of, if y'all do love Game of Thrones, please read the small little short stories, because they're just little novellas. Knock them out. Some of the best things I've ever read.
Oh, they're so good. They're so good.
Absolutely.
Anyway, Westworld, we'll see you again in looks like 2 years.
We hope.
Yeah.
Hope and pray.
I think we're getting it.
I think so too. I do. And guys, if you listen to the pod and you're like, guys, y'all are full of shit, and you missed this, you missed that, or hey, you're great, love this, whatever, let us know. Hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube,
Spotify. We're everywhere. Like, if you're on it, we're there.
And do us a solid. If you enjoyed listening to us for this year and you had about that, give us a review on iTunes, or tell a friend and give us a shout. We're trying to grow and continue to grow, and we're getting better numbers every year, and y'all make a big deal for us on that. So if you got a second, do it. We appreciate it. But we're going to wrap it for this Westworld and look forward to coming back in a couple of years. And so,
but until then, get ready to hop on your motorcycle and join us for Mayans.
Exactly. At September 4th is the start date for FX's Mayans MC. This is the continuation of the Sons of Anarchy storyline. This is set a couple years after.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're one of those people who like Sons of Anarchy like we do, we will be covering that starting September 4th. We're looking forward to it. So we'll probably have Facebook pages and different things for it too. So join and we'll rock it out. But other than that, guys, we're going to call tonight. This is BleedTV, and I'm Zack.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Cash.
See y'all next year or the year after.
See you in 2020.